live, my friends. It is September 10th, 2010. We've got a very well-known comedian who's done HBO specials, you name it, who's been on the broadcast before, Patrice O'Neal, coming up in the next segment for the balance of the hour. He's got a lot of courage. He's questioned President Obama. He has questioned 9/11. He's a listener of the broadcast. Patrice O'Neal coming up. We'll talk about a host of issues, including the big Ground Zero mosque diversion, the burn the Koran situation. We'll talk about all of it with Patrice O'Neal in the second and third hour. All right, coming up in the second and third hour, we're getting into the 10th anniversary or 9th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. I'm going to get into the economy, incredible police state developments as well. But in this first hour, Patrice O'Neal is in studio with us. He's a very successful stand-up comedian, radio personality, and actor. He's been on a number of comedy specials, Showtime, HBO, Comedy Central Presents, in addition to a guest appearance on television shows such as The Late Night with David Letterman, and on and on. Ellen DeGeneres Show, The Office. His stand-up comedy focuses on topics such as American politics, race and race relations, sexuality, and censorship. He is also a regular visitor of the Opie and Anthony program on XM Radio. Patrice is currently on tour and will be performing this Friday and Saturday night here in Austin, Texas, where we're based at the Cap City Comedy Club. So if it isn't already sold out, you can probably get down there and see him tonight and tomorrow. Patrice O'Neal, good to have you here in studio with us.
Well, thank you, sir. How you doing,
man? It's awesome. It's good to have you here. I mean, I had seen you on television a few times before, but then I had seen some clips and heard some clips of you on the Opie and Anthony show that reaches millions and millions of people. And you were, very early on, right when the Obama deception came out, when Obama was still like God, you were saying people need to see this Obama deception, and you were saying, hey, this shatters the left-right paradigm. And they were saying, what, Patrice, you support Bush?
Look, you can't. I think there's an instinct to people who believe in New World Order and globalization. There's an instinct. You don't have to be informed to have that instinct. It's like when I first saw, after The Family came out, I had a heartwarming feeling just to see the black family come out, and you go, wow, man, I'm alive to see that. But then they see the faces, and you see these faces, and you go, man, something's wrong. Like, you just have an instinct, like, why am I not as happy as I should be right now? That's the New World Order instinct. Then you go and you find certain things out. So I was I think I was on like 50cent.com. 50cent.com. 50 Cent has his this is 50. So you had the Obama deception thing right there as I'm watching something on 50, and I looked at it, man, and I'm like, I can't be an honest human being if I don't feel like this is touching on something, and I had the instinct that of all of that, but that particular film opened me up to the whole thing. And the one thing, if I have to pick out one thing that got me going, was the fact that the Federal Reserve Bank is private-owned company. That, on the lowest levels, I have never gotten past that. If there's the eugenics and the globalization and all of this stuff, and out of everything that got me going and keeps my mind in that direction, is that the Federal Reserve is a private-owned company.
I wonder why 50 Cent linked to the movie. Maybe he's awake.
This is 50s.com is where I saw the link to the Obama deception, and it it brought me in a direction that
it's got KRS-One and of course Professor Griffin.
Professor Griffin's in that, and KRS has always been into that. But the thing is, I noticed something about it. I'm a comedian. When I first got into it, heavy, you stop being funny. You really do. You just, nothing's funny. So I had to kind of chill out for a second and figure out how to be funny, back to being funny again, and then still throwing it out to people, because at the level you are, I watch the website and watch all the films. At the level you're at, it scares the death out of the average person who even might be, Eugenics is the highest level.
Well, exactly. That's what happens to me. I'm working all the time, and so I'm usually not freaked out or scared. But then when I take off a few days or get away from the radio or don't, read the news, driving into work this morning, I wouldn't even call it scared, just more freaked out, realizing this is real. I mean, I was on the airplane flying back from New Orleans yesterday,
right,
from doing a investigation and shoot with Jesse Ventura. And I was asked by a man on the plane next to me and a woman next to me, both separately were listeners, and they said, is this real for you or is this entertainment? And I said, well, wait a minute. Everything we talk about is on the record. Of course this is real. Of course this is real. But getting back to eugenics, now I saw them build up Obama as our savior,
right,
and they were going to try to push their agenda. They took a step with their left foot.
Right. Now
they're getting ready with the right wing and Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin to take a step with their right foot. And so now I was called a communist when I didn't like Bush. Now I've been called a right-winger because I don't like Obama. And now I'm getting ready to be called a commie again because now I've got to swing my guns over onto Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin.
But I think the plan was not, I think Obama was supposed to be in office for 8 years. I think the thing that destroyed the Obama plan, I think, is racism. I think white people's, the average white person who's not into the New World or they're into just regular politics, I think they can't take having a black boss for 8 years. And I think that ruined the higher ups plan to have him kind of have this feel of warm, we're all together.
Yeah, this feel good, and then
I think the average, like, I don't even know who to say the average white person, but people are starting tea parties and starting these things that's from 1712. I think I mean, look, I'm not stupid, you know what I mean? It's like, don't lie to me about it not being racial when you start a tea party and you out of nowhere, it's a 2-year movement out of nowhere when the president's black. If we're into, like, if you're in the New World Order, this is not, it don't matter black, white. That's why it's like, if you're into that, you just go, I don't care what color the president is, because it's all foul. But the average person who's just in the Republican and Democrats, I think there's a racial element to this country that can't take another 4 years of Obama. It's just not going to happen.
Well, I think what added to that, too, though, is the government-run health care and all these other big moves. But I do think that is an element to it.
The average person knows, Alex, that's what I'm saying. I'm out here, and I believe in the Bilderbergs. I believe in the Bohemian Grove. I believe it all. But the problem is, I look at, and don't take this wrong, many listeners. I look at Hitler, okay, and I go, if I'm a crazy guy and I go, I hate Jews, I want them all dead. Do you blame me as much as you blame the 50,000 people that I convince to shoot Jews in the head in the middle of the street? I don't like the people that go, okay, I'll just shoot people in the head. I've run into so many people who are willing to kill other people or kill themselves, really. They don't even know they're killing themselves on behalf of the Illuminati, the CFR, these people who we look at it like they're evil. Yeah, we get they're evil, but don't help them. Don't help cut my head off and cut your head off.
Oh, that's a good point. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has now ruled citizens can be secretly arrested. People can be tortured. They don't need warrants. And this is all for the American people, regardless of what color you are.
Right.
But just like with Hitler, he sold it with an unpopular minority first, but really it was for everybody. So these idiots that go along with this, they need to know that they're in the crosshairs as well.
They just go along. I pay my electric bill every 3-4 months. I pay it when I get a threatening letter. I just forget. This time around, somebody came to my house to cut it off, and he goes, look, you're going to give me a check, or I'm going to cut your electricity off. I go, look, man, I'm going to pay it online or whatever. He's like, look, this is my job, I'm going to cut it off. I go, what if I had somebody in here who could die without the electricity? You know what I mean? And he just did this. He just went, that's my job. I go, your job is you think that you love your family. by killing my family. Like, meaning something could be happening. Nothing is, but I'm just on a dramatic level, because then I got on the phone and the woman said, well, if your kid was on a respirator, we would tell you should have thought of that before you didn't pay your bill. And I go, are you serious? My bill was $800. You think people got $800 just to pay? You think everybody's trying to scam you? Your job is to hear me beg for my life. And you go, sorry, sir. So do you think that you could go home and love your family the way you think you love them if you could kill my family?
Patrice, that's a key point you made. You're talking about the Nuremberg defense, where these tens of thousands of Nazis said, hey, I was just following orders, and the court ruled no. If you're doing something immoral or murderous or illegal, it doesn't matter if a tyrant's telling you it's okay. You just can't abdicate all of your responsibility over to, I'm just doing my job.
It doesn't sit right to me. So as I've gotten into more and more, enlightenment about a lot of these things that these people up top are doing, and I believe they're doing, the problem is, how do you communicate that? It's shocking to me if you say it to an average person that doesn't know how much they don't want to hear it, how much they don't care, how much even I go, look, go to the supermarket, right? There's 10 aisles, but there's only one person working, and the rest is you're checking out yourself. Like, there's no more people doing jobs that you go, wait a minute, there's no more tellers. There's just one person taking, and
down the road, what are the jobs going to be able to have money to even buy the food?
That's what's killing me. It's like, wait a minute. If you're treating me like a robot, what they're doing is they're setting you up to get me used to dealing with robots, because you're not being a person right now. You're being they're tricking me. It's not tricking, because what they're doing is getting rid of your job, because you cost them money. So a big business, why would I pay you if you're gonna get my $800? Why do I want to pay out the $800 that I'm giving you to a person that's working? They're trying to figure out how to get rid of you, and you're just helping. Well, it's just my job. It's not going to be your job.
No, absolutely. You're hitting on the key here. We're being deindustrialized. We're being turned into biological androids, and we had better have an awakening to even salvage some of our humanity. And to do that, we've got to all come together against the eugenics. We'll be right back with Patrice O'Neal. Stay with us. Patrice O'Neal is our guest. We do have Richard Gage with huge bombshell breaking information. They had a press conference at the National Press Club with former Senator Gravel. Key information coming up in the first 30 minutes of the third hour with Richard Gage, the head of architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth. Less than 24 hours from the 9th year anniversary of the tragic attacks that have been used to butcher our liberties and freedoms and launch all these illegal wars. That is coming up. Now, Patrice, you were trying to get into eugenics before the break cut you off. You were saying that that's the ultimate level, and I agree with you, and they play us off against each other. They're dehumanizing us. They're deindustrializing us to make us dependent on the system. But the end game is forced population reduction.
It's the high. I'm laughing, right? Because as a newbie to it, I mean, I would say the last 2 or 3 years, it's shocking, man. That I think that's eugenics is the most difficult to digest out of any of it. I think the fact that there might be some people that are trying to kill human beings, I think is the hardest thing for people to believe. But as you open it, and what I like about your films is this: you don't just, it's easy to go, this guy's crazy, but you give things in your movies that say, okay, go to HR this and go to executive order that, and it's difficult to deal with HR 1000 because it's crazy. So sometimes I got to take your word for it with that HR or the executive order stuff, because it's so. It's a Bible's worth of stuff you got to read through. But that's the thing I like about watching your films, is that it's brought me here. It all does come together. Well,
when we show a bill, when we show a bill or executive order, though, we zoom in on the subsection. I mean, here's an example. The last 3 weeks, we have written article after article with direct links to the Rockefeller Foundation. And they're just like 20-page documents. You can read them where they say we're going to develop vaccines that reduce fertility And they even talk about, so we don't sterilize everybody because then people would notice that.
Right.
We just hurt a certain amount of people.
That no one cares about. Start with Africa. Easy to do. A lot of poor people, nobody cares.
Well, see, you bring up race. And I will say most libertarians, most patriots that I know, the media would call right-wing, are not racist. But they do understand that there are elements and that the Republicans have taken over the Tea Party and are basically putting out code words, but at the same time denying it. But here's another issue. The ultimate racist are the so-called liberals on the top, because when you actually read their writings 80 years ago, they said, we've got to pose as liberals so the blacks trust us. And then you see the result, 51, well, let me ask you this, 51% of black people since Roe v. Wade have been killed before they're born. And then you go talk to the average black folks, they'll defend abortion like it's some liberal right. And I go, really? Liberal right to kill 51% of the black people?
This is Alex, this is the game. This is the problem. Okay, I'm just now looking at the Constitution. I tell you who got me looking at the Constitution was Aaron Russo. When he's like, democracy is that thing where he says two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. It changed my life. I think that's the most amazing quote I've ever heard that puts democracy in perspective.
Thomas Jefferson originally.
Well, that I heard from him. You know, I give him but I'm looking at the Constitution, and for some reason, growing up black with just being black, the Constitution is poison words for black people because we feel we're not involved in it anyway. But the idea of what freedom of the press and then freedom to carry arms, why it's important, and this is easy, is because it's to protect us from a dictator. It's separation of state. When Bush took over the separation of not separation of state, but separation of
church and state.
No, the powers of the
separation of powers.
Yes,
you got it.
The House of Representatives and the president to protect us from a dictator. And all these things are trying to be destroyed so that a dictator can come right in and take over. But black people somehow in the system of just regular government, we feel ostracized from these words. We all, like even the crazy, what black people call the crazy crackers in the hills that say, we gonna kill you if you come on my property. Black people automatically think those people are crazy, but those people are the revolutionaries of our time. They live how the people who freed the country from England live. They think like that. But to a black person, whatever the news thing does, it makes us think that those people are insane and out to get me. That's the game they play so that black people don't get deep into the New World Order. Because
it's another divide and conquer.
It's a divide and conquer thing.
Well, stay there. We're going to break. Long segment. Let's pick up where you left it. Patrice O'Neal is our guest. PatriceO'Neal.com. He's going to be at the Cap City Comedy Club tonight and tomorrow. Hurry and get tickets because it's probably going to sell out here in Austin, Texas. You can find out where else he's going to be appearing around the country. Also at PatriceO'Neal.com. I'm Alex Jones. The websites are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. Stay with us. Well, we're having a very informative discussion with Patrice O'Neal. We're going to be going back to him in just a moment. You know, we ended that special a few days ago where you got 5 films for $9.95. We sold out of all those documentaries. We have a few hundred of each just to fill mail orders for those. But we have a new special that's only going to run for a couple of weeks. You know, the Obama deception, we sold out of that. We've now gotten a few thousand more of these in. And when these are gone, it's over. The Obama deception that really shatters the left-right paradigm. And you may be awake, but as your neighbor, or your friends, as your boss, or your employees, as your church, they need to see this film. Republicans watch it because they hate Obama, and then they see the film and it exposes Bush and the whole New World Order. Democrats watch it because they think, oh, they're going to see some, right-wing disinfo piece, and they find out that it's a much larger paradigm. And that's what we're doing, is getting people outside the box. You can get this film, $19.95, and get a $24.95 book free, Jesse Ventura's American Conspiracies. He covers everything in this book. It's very well written, a very easy read, a great gift to give someone. Read it yourself and give it away. Get a free Jesse Ventura book, New York Times best-selling author, American Conspiracies, hardcover, free. So that is a $24.95 book, free, when you get The Obama Deception. But these are going to sell out very quickly. The books are going to sell out very quickly. We've only got a few thousand of these and a few thousand of The Obama Deception. When this is gone, it's gone. Infowars.com. And your purchase of the books and the videos makes this broadcast possible. We've got a lot of other specials where you buy a T-shirt and get a free ball cap, or buy one video, get another video free. It is your support of this show. Listen, I'm not getting $50 million or $40 million a year like Glenn Beck. I don't have Fox News behind me, okay? It's Alex Jones. I'm the guy that makes the decision on what computers to buy. I'm the guy that sometimes carries the trash out. I'm the guy that has to decide what furniture to get for the new studio. And I'm not complaining. It's just I could do so much more if I wasn't the guy that has to run it all. And if we had more support, I could do that. And we're really trying to hire a couple more people. We're trying to buy the equipment for the studio. So when you also purchase these great books and videos, it makes everything we do possible. So again, Infowars.com to get your free copy of American Conspiracy Theory when you get The Obama Deception. So you get The Obama Deception, get a free book, Infowars.com, or you can simply call toll-free 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139, or you can simply write to us at P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas 78760, to get your free copy of Jesse Ventura's American Conspiracies when you get a copy of The Obama Deception. But this great special isn't going to last long, so please take advantage of it. Going back to a very popular, nationally known comic, but also social commentary individual, you know, HBO specials, Comedy Central specials, you name it, Patrice O'Neal, PatriceO'Neal.com. You got cut off. You were making the point about the hillbillies trying to stay out of the system. You know, to black folks, the way the media pushes it is, you know, anybody who lives in the country is basically a racist that wants to, you know, get you. And then you were saying, Alex, am I right that Waco really woke you up? And to a certain extent, that was the real trigger. So we were talking about that during the break. Please continue.
Yeah, I was just going to say that more black people should be into this globalization game, the idea of it. But it's whatever the news does in this country, it's to separate. If you look at history, anybody that tried to bring black and white people together got killed. You know, anybody who...
As soon as Malcolm X stopped saying Whitey's the devil, boom.
As soon as he thought, whoa, wait, maybe I'm wrong, get your hand on my pocket, he got killed. And, you know, Martin Luther King got killed.
Same deal.
JFK, black people love JFK.
Well, he was for real.
He got killed. Jesus, Gandhi, anybody who tries to bring people together for the right reasons, they get off, man. And
well, they're always bringing folks together against the corrupt elite.
And they get offed. So the thing is, when you keep me thinking, what do I care about having a gun? I can't have one. I got a conviction, so I can't have a gun anyway legally. So if you know, to the average black person in the street,
and that's why they want to get everybody into the system. Well, it's like this black guy up in Long Island. 25 MS-13s are rushing his house, and we're going to kill your kids. He shoots the gun in the ground.
And they were legal. His guns were legal.
And they arrested him. And the cops said, well, you could have killed him. It's like something out of Gran Torino. But you couldn't shoot the gun in the ground to protect yourself.
He shot in the air, and they called it whatever they called it, man. This is why I tell a lot of people, like, a lot of people do have this thing about the police where they go, oh, you know, we have rights. The people, man, police have things that they can do to just take your... Look, disorderly conduct it ends all your ideas that you think you have rights. If a cop says move and you go, no, I have the right to be here, disorderly. That's basically destroys...
Or failure to follow an order.
Failure to follow.
So what's the next thing? Come to your house, knock, knock, I want you to go mow my yard. And you say no, you're
going to get... Exactly. A lot of police are stop. But this is what... The problem is, one of the problems, I fly a lot, you fly a lot. The people are supposed to be our elite, the people who know how to have power over another person. Meaning this, you have a physical presence. I have a physical presence, so you know what it's like to be respected just because you exist. A lot of people who have power never knew what it was like to be respected just because they exist. So if you get a lot of weak people who are now put into powerful positions, they're really, really corrupted by that.
Well, that's what I found. A lot of people who innately are powerful are embarrassed of exercising power, but these little nobody thugs, they are just loving it because they're weak. And that's what the system is made up of, is all these petty people, that it's a new class. They're above us. I flew with Jesse Ventura, and at the Atlanta airport, he's got a hip replacement. And I watched Ventura and mainly old folks that have hip replacements being searched. And Ventura said to me, that's why he wants to leave this country, period, because he said it's the act of domination and humiliation every time he flies, the pat down, putting their hands on him. And I was watching them do it to women. And you know, that's your personal space. It has nothing to do with terrorism, and it's dog training. They are training us to have somebody in our space, and they're always, and now they got the naked body scanners.
And the thing about the naked body scanners, I cause problems when I go to the airport. I always go to the airport 3 hours or 4 hours before I have to fly, just so I can see what rights I'm supposed to have. So LA was the first time I've seen the X-ray machines. You can say no to the X-ray machine.
But now they admit they're phasing it in to make you.
Well, here's what they do. They don't just say yeah and make you now. But what they do is they make life so miserable if you don't, that you think about doing it. Now, I said, look, I don't take anything off that I don't have to. You have to take your shoes off. You have to take your coat off. I don't take anything.
Which is another act of submission.
Submission. I don't take my jewelry off and my hat. You can keep your hat on if you want to. You can keep on your belt if you want to. But you have to choose to take that check, right? Now, what they did is when I said no to the X-ray machine, all my stuff was going through. So there's thousands of people's stuff on top of my computer, on top of my clothes, on the floor, and they keep me on the side to make life really miserable so that I go, okay, next time I'm going to go through because I don't want my computer to be over there by itself. But I'm like, look, I'm not going to, anything that I can do to keep a hold of the fact that I have a little bit of dignity, I'm going to keep a hold of it.
But here's the good news. You're resisting. First, they lied and said they weren't saving the images. Then now they admit they're saving them all. They're going in courthouses, state and federal, mobile vans, high-powered ones that the government bought 500 that beam your house.
Right.
It's admitted it causes cancer. That's how insane it is. 15 years ago, the Army admitted DU will kill you deader than a hammer. Now they tell the troops it isn't bad for you, use it, and they're dying, and they just say, hey, go ahead and die. So they're setting the precedent, but now because of the protest and people saying no, they're claiming, oh, we've got a computer that computerizes your image and covers up your genitals. First they lied and said it didn't show them, and so it's just an image of a man with a baseball cap, and then the computer with AI technology is going to tell them what area to supposedly search, but we know that's a lie. They're still saving the image. They just do this digital overlay over it, but the point is we're going to defeat those naked body scanners because almost everybody I know just isn't traveling now, and it's bankrupting the airlines. That's why they're having to come out now and start to back off.
And it's because of the people that they have in charge. If we had elite, like I watch on tapes the Mujahideen. They out practicing how to shoot 2 M16s with two pistols, shooting apples off of things. Like when I watch them, I go, "Whew, those dudes are trying to kill me." Now I look at who we have as supposed to be our protectors. It's a mess. The airports, the police, they're just a mess. Sometimes when you get a small lady cop, I'm telling you, and I'm being honest, you get a small lady cop who talks to me.
They've got a Napoleon complex.
I say, look, miss, you got to understand I respect the law. But if you arrested me, you should say thank you to me for allowing you to. Because you can't arrest me without my respect for the law in general. So when you come at me with this angry, forceful thing, you got to understand I'm a person to person. If you wasn't a cop, you wouldn't be talking to me like this. I like cops who can arrest me if they weren't a cop. Like I go, all right, sir, let's talk about it. And usually those guys are nicer people. But when you get a punk who's now got some kind of weird power where they think they are the law as opposed to their
No, that's what I've noticed. If you've got some big giant cop with arms, that are huge, they're really nice. It's always the little guy.
Because it's a bad place to put them in that part. But maybe, like you said, it's planned. But all of this stuff is planned, and that's why I'm like going back to the...
No, they admit they're psychologically profiling, and now, first it was don't hire a cop over 100 IQ. Now they're wanting them with 90 IQs. So they're just dumber than a box of rocks on a power trip, and somebody who had a little bit of dignity and a little bit of prowess, they would be embarrassed
to be this person. And that's real. And that's the thing when I go back to the black and white thing, man. I don't want people to think, oh, white people. I'm saying that as I'm becoming informed, I can understand why black people, because I'm still not removed from black folks. I understand why more black people aren't involved. You can see...
But you're outside the box now. See,
yeah.
You've broken your paradigm, so you can look at it as a third party from outside to clearly make decisions from an unemotional perspective. But going back to gun laws, the first gun laws were passed after the Civil War in the South against black people. So then how do black folks then support the Democratic Party who says, we're going to take your guns away from you or throw you in jail if you try to have a gun to protect yourself? And again, so the Republican Party, it will promote part of your rights, but try to take away the other part. The Democrats try to give you the other rights the Republicans don't want to give you, but try to take away the other rights. And between the two parties, you've lost them all.
But a lot of people, Alex, that don't understand the idea of having a gun. A lot of black people don't understand what the idea is. They think it's to keep some gangs out your house. It's to protect you from a dictatorship, a overthrow.
Well, it does both, yeah.
It does both, but the idea mostly for a black person in a bad neighborhood is that, and then there's some white people who don't know what the right to have a gun is. A lot of white people think the right to have a gun means I have the right to have one. It's you have one to protect yourself from things. To protect.
Well, I mean, bottom line, if a lion has had his teeth taken out and his claws declawed,
right,
that is a domesticated, defanged, declawed creature.
Right.
A free man or woman has the right to own guns. I mean, it goes back 200 years ago to blacks not being able to even own a knife. It goes back to Rome. I mean, if you read the actual history books written by Julius Caesar and others, when they rolled into Germany and rolled into Austria and rolled into other countries, rolled into England, which was Albion at the time, the first thing they did was they took the women and children, they killed most of the men, and they disarmed everybody. So it's very elementary. Any country you look at where the people aren't armed, you're going to have an out-of-control government. So it's a check and a balance. It's real simple. It's like a fish out of water. It's gonna die.
We're doing it ourselves, though. That's the thing. That's my problem. Is that we're doing the average person is doing it. It's not like they're coming and really taking anything from you. They're putting us in a position to be afraid and say, please come protect me. And here's how we're going to protect you. Give me your gun. Let me have a gun and I'll fix everything. We believe that the government...
Yeah, that's like the mafia. Can you imagine, the mafia says, pay me protection money or I'll burn down your grocery store. It's the same thing. The government says, you're not allowed to protect yourself. We'll do it for you, but then if we don't show up on time with the 911 call, sorry, no liability.
Right. But it's at the level you're at, it's just too easy to think like that. It's the level of these people walking around. I mean, right now, you're a shepherd, and there's, you got the Glenn Becks and you got everybody that's out here fighting. They're shepherds. And right now it's just it's a lot of sheep just deciding on what shepherd they're going to follow.
But I think that's my number one message. Don't be a sheep. Be your own leader.
That seems elementary, but I know a lot of people that don't. My girl, she needs me to even disagree with something. She needs me to have a point so that she can have a point. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning she don't just go, here's what I think. She waits to see what I think, and then she either agrees with it or don't agree with it. That's most people. They're not looking to go, you know what, I'm going to start something myself.
No, they're spectators. You're right.
Yeah.
You have to bring up a point to even get them to even begin to realize that there is a spectrum of ideas.
Right. And they won't, they just wait for you to say something and either go, he's crazy, or I love this guy. They're not trying to unfold. That's why I said again, the reason I enjoy your tapes is because you'll do a lot of stuff to say, look, don't listen to me. Go over here. I read this thing about Henry Kissinger. I forgot what it was, but it was a blueprint on how to destroy governments and kill the people.
State Department Memorandum 200.
It was shocking. And I'm going, it's real. I'm not listening to Alex Jones or Alan Watt or whoever I'm listening. They tell you to go do things. And I'm like, it exists. People aren't.
No, that's the thing is I had ABC News here, a Nightline, and they would say, you think the government wants to reduce population. And I literally played them video clips of world leaders. I gave them all the I said, and they wouldn't even look. They'd laugh at me. And they realized that most people are sheep. So as long as they just laugh and never in the piece let me show them any proof,
right,
it's just, oh, it's this guy's opinion, so do you choose to believe him? And they kept asking me, do you really believe this? Do you really believe this? And I said, of course I believe it. I know it's true. And then they went further on the show. They said, you know, we don't even think Alex Jones believes this. And for somebody who's awake, that's ineffective and looks ridiculous. But you're right, Patrice. They're targeting people who aren't going to look into this. They're just going to think this guy's making it up.
But that's what I'm saying. To expose. You know, you watched the Bohemian Grove. I heard a guy, I forgot his name. He was talking about the Bohemian Grove. He goes, look, in the least, the fact that your leaders are dressing in crazy hoods and burning owls, doesn't that bother you to just on a certain human level? So you don't need to go to the stratosphere. All you got to do is go, yeah, that does bother me, and then move on.
Patrice, stay there. This is amazing. He'll be with us on the other side. Patrice O'Neal, so many other issues to discuss. There is an awakening happening out there. And that's why they put these fake leaders out like Obama and then whatever the next right-wing leader is going to be. And my point is, we are so far down this line. They're building this domestic control grid that is designed for we the people. We had better wake up and come together now for the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, for the Second Amendment, or it's over.
Well, I don't think it could be done without our help. I mean, that's what I'm saying about, you know, I believe, wholeheartedly in this idea of an Illuminati, of a new world order, of the banking system. But it's the more people I meet and the more people that don't care, I think, to me, if I had a crusade, it would be to figure out, how do you get the average person to I know the banking system opened my mind. That is what was the most important thing. If somebody came at me and said, hey, look, they're trying to get the world down to 500,000 people. There's some people that just want to kill everybody and get it down to 500,000 people and control them. I'm like, okay, whatever. It sounds good. But when somebody just says the bank is private and the government borrows money and to pay them back, or the idea of the gold standard, didn't know what it was, didn't care what it was. Once I understood why gold exists, I'm going, now it doesn't. We're not on the gold standard now. We're on the debt standard. The fact that I owe money means that we have money. It's shocking to me. Then if I know they can do that, I move to the next thing and the next thing, and then I go, oh man. And as a comic, it slows me down. So I'm trying to, because I know Bill Hicks, man, he was open. He was open to it all. And when you're open to it all, it could drive you insane with wanting to put the information out. But I've learned how to throw it in a little bit, make a person laugh, and then hopefully if I throw a little info out and a person laughs, it's like when you say go look at HR this and go look at the executive order that, it just, maybe they'll go look and it'll open their mind and then they can go. But the fact of dealing with people, man, people are not doing the right thing when it comes to this, man. There's a couple of people out there, and when I say a couple, if 1 million people are into it, that's not enough, man. That's just not enough. They can round up 1 million people easy, but we need 50 million, 60 million.
No, you're right. It is a life and death situation to wake up as many people. I mean, individuals who wake up and get really informed, they need to understand they've got a responsibility now to reach out to others. And the system before could just deny and say we were liars. Now they try to come out and go, okay, we lied about global warming, but the UN said this 2 days ago, but it's about population reduction, so we've got to do this. So, or the CIA comes out and says, okay, we did put out fake bin Laden videos. Okay, we are growing the opium. They're trying to really steal our thunder and just kind of put it out there in our face.
It's because it's too late. At 500 million bad eggs. I'm going, who? I said, do you hear that? 500 million bad eggs. And you go, and when I say to people, it's because a lot of people didn't take the vaccine that they had to grow in the eggs. So they're like, hey, since they didn't take them, let's just put them back out. People dropping dead from the vaccine eggs that they, you had to grow the H1N1 inside the eggs. And it's just like, it didn't work. So now they just got these eggs sitting around and they try to put them out there. Those eggs are now poison. Now they got to figure out salmonella. I'm like, look, there's no way 500 million eggs got salmonella poisoning in it. But people go, well, that's what they told me. And I go,
Patrice, stay there. We're going to do 5 more minutes. We're back in 70 seconds. It's been an amazing interview with nationally known comedian Patrice O'Neal. And we got 5 more minutes with him. And I wanted to get into the Quran situation. I'm going to get into this after he leaves us. Then Richard Gage is coming on. But bottom line, I defended the right of that mosque to be built down there 2 blocks from Ground Zero. But I also don't agree with him, but I agree with his right for that preacher to burn the Quran. And the fact now that they're in the Middle East, they're burning Bibles and things. The issue is if you don't like the United States, that you can burn a Bible, you can burn a Quran, you can burn an American flag. I think that's disrespectful and bad on every front. I'm not looking to insult people. But now that this guy's maybe saying he's going to back off, and the media has been talking about maybe it should be illegal to burn a Quran, well, then First Amendment's gone. Patrice O'Neal.
I agree with the fact that you do have your right to do things, but there is tact. And I'm gonna tell you, burning a Quran, and this is my thing about burning a Quran and burning a Bible or whatever. It's burning their God. That's the thing that bothers me. It's that look, and it goes again to the lying in this country. No one has a problem with Islam. It itself. I mean, Farrakhan is Muslim, so no one would burn a Quran to demonstrate that they hate Louis Farrakhan because he's genuine American. Whether people agree with him or not, he's American. People don't have a problem with Islam. They have a problem with Arabs. And no one wants to say that they don't like Arabs in this country. It's not about the Bible and the Quran. It's about those people in this country. Let me tell you, I agree. I believe this. Arabs have not yet gone through what everyone else has gone through in this country to be certified American. You go through some foulness for people to go, whew, they're American. Japanese did it. Chinese did it. Blacks did it. Irish did it. Everyone's done it except for Arabs. And there is no, and here's the thing. Everyone who does bad in their particular group has another part of their group who condemns things that they do that are wrong. Arabs don't have, and maybe it's the news that's doing it, but you don't see enough Arabs that go, what these Arabs are doing is wrong. You ask Arab, hey, what do you think about 9/11? It's like, well, when you're pushed to do things, you have to go through. It's like, nah, just say flying planes in the buildings might be wrong. Just say, don't give me an excuse of why people got to die. Just say, look, blowing up this guy might not be the right thing. I don't think enough Arabs are vocal enough against the ones that are just doing bad stuff to make everybody else go, okay, there's a right Arab and a wrong Arab. But that's for basic anything.
But, I mean, we're almost out of time, Patrice. What about the issue of, I've supported the property rights issue with the mosque and been criticized because if you take away their right, then nobody's got a right. But at the same time, I didn't know what to really think about this preacher and all of this, and I think it's being used by the media to create division. Yep. But now, if he does back off, you can burn anything you want but a Quran.
But let's be honest. Building that mosque, you have the right to do it. Don't do it. Don't do it just because of the sentiment. Don't burn Qurans because it's burning someone's God. Billions.
Well, I don't think it's a good idea.
I
mean, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't like it. But at the same time, the First Amendment is the heart of this country.
Have the right. But, sir, Mr. Guy, the preacher in Gainesville, don't do it.
But if you don't exercise a right, you lose it.
He didn't need to even open his mouth to exercise it. Just like the mosque, you can build it 8 blocks away where people go, okay, you're going to build it 2 to exercise your right. I'm not crazy. You're not exercising a right because you could exercise your right to be decent to the people who are going to lose it and cause problems. Very
interesting. Patrice O'Neal, thank you for spending time with us. He'll be, you bet, he'll be tonight and Saturday, Cap City Comedy Club. Find out more at patriceoneal.com. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv.